Good afternoon, boys and girls. I am going to go over today's skill. I felt like it was a little bit challenging in math class today, so I'm going to try to model some examples, and then I'm even going to give you some answers for tonight's homework so you can check and make sure you're doing it correctly. So let's start with a whole number. We're going to start with 2,467, and today's I can statement said I can write standard numbers in expanded form using multiplication and addition. So I like how one student said it today. It's the expanded version of expanded form. So we have expanded form. We're going to take the value of each digit, and we're going to start on the far left. We're going to start with the place with the largest value. In this case, that would be the thousandths place. So we're going to start with the 2 in the thousands place. And the 2 in the thousands place, the value is 2,000. So I'm going to bring that down here, and I'm going to say 2 times 1,000. Again, this would equal 2,000, which is the value of the thousands place. Then we're going to add in the value of the 4. The value of the 4 is 400. So I'm going to add in that value, 4 times 100. I'm going to go to the 6. The value of the 6 is 60. So I'll add in 6 times 10. And then last we're going to go to the value of the 7, which is simply 7. So we'll add in 7 times 1. Notice each time when we were looking at the thousands place, we multiplied by 1,000. When we were looking at the hundreds place, we multiplied by 100. When we were looking at the tens place, we multiplied by 10. And when we were looking at the ones place, we multiplied by 1. Let's try another example. This time, we're going to look at expanded form with decimals. So let's look at 6 and 823 thousandths. When we look at this decimal, we're going to again start with the largest place. In this case, that would be the ones place. So the value of the 6 is 6. I can see that value by multiplying 6 times 1 because we're in the ones place. This is where it gets a little hairy because now we're going to go on the other side of the decimal, which means we have parts. So we're going to take one part at a time. We're going to start with the tens place.
Your ride is leaving in 2 minutes.
We're starting with the tens place, and we have an 8. So we're going to bring down that digit. 8 times 1/10 because we're in the tens place. Then we're going to go to the hundredths place. We're going to add in the hundredths place. So we have this digit 2 times 100th. And finally, we'll add in the thousandths place. We're going to add in 3 times 1,000. So this is how you do expanded form with decimals. And we're taking it a step further. We're going even deeper. The expanded form of expanded form. The importance is that you see the value of each digit. You see the value of the tens place, the value of the hundredths place, and the value of the thousandths place. Notice, when I was in the ones place, I multiplied by 1. When I was in the tenths place, I multiplied by 1/10. When I was in the hundredths place, I multiplied by 100th. And when I was in the thousandths place, I multiplied by 1,000. Now, we're going to look at your homework tonight. And I'm going to actually give you the answers to the first few problems on your homework so that you can check and make sure you're doing tonight's homework correctly. So let's look at number 1. I'm going to write this a little larger so you can see. Number 1, they're asking you for the expanded form of 24 and 76/100ths. Now remember, on tonight's homework, I asked you to use multiplication and addition for expanded form, and I also asked you to use only decimals. I know down on some of the problems towards the bottom they used fractions, but I only want you to do decimals to show expanded form. So let's start out with number 1. You should have 2 times, this is in the tens place, so we're going to multiply 2 by 10, plus 4 times 1. Now we're moving to the tens place, plus 7 times 1/10, plus 6 times 1/100. Again, notice, when we're in the tens place, we multiply by 10. When we're in the ones place, we multiply by 1. And when we're in the tens place, we multiply by 1/10. And when we're looking at the hundredths place, we multiply by 1/100. Next is asking for the written form. Written form is the same as word form. And we're only going to use words to write this number. So let me show you what that will look like. 24. And remember, anytime you see a decimal point, you always write and. And then we're just going to read this number just like we see it, 76. But we have to look at that last place. And the 6 is in the hundredths place. So we'll read that as 76 hundredths. You have to make sure to add that in there. Alright, let's look at number 2. Number 2 is a little tricky, possibly. We have 21 and remember, we're going to read exactly what we see on this side of the decimal, and we see 35. We're going to go to the last place represented, which is the thousandths place. So we'll read 21 and 35 thousandths. So here we go, expanded form using multiplication and division. We see a 2, so I'm going to say 2 times 10 plus 1 times 1 plus, I don't have anything in the tens place, so I don't have to do anything. I could write 0 times 1/10, but I don't have to because that 0 doesn't have a value. So I'm going to go to the next place, the hundredths place. 3 times 100. And then finally I'm going to go to the 5. 5 is in the thousandths place, so I'm going to multiply that by 1,000. Written form would be 21 and, anytime we see a decimal point we write and, 35 thousandths. Okay, so that's how you would write the written form of 21 and 35 thousandths. I'm going to do one more for you. Let's look at one that might be a little longer. Let's see. Let's go to this one right here. I'm going to erase all of this very quickly. Let's go down to number 6. The written form of number 6 says 718, and, which tells me there's going to be a decimal point right there, 12 thousandths. So I'm going to write exactly what I see, 718. I like to start with the whole number first, and I know that this is the whole number. 718, decimal point, 12 thousandths. Now, that tells me that in this part of the number, I'm going to go to the thousandths place, and I have 12 thousandths, so this is going to be a 0, and that would read 718 and 12 thousandths. If we wanted to show that in expanded form, using multiplication and addition, we would simply look at the hundredths place first, and we would write 7 times 100 plus 1 times 10 plus 8 times 1 plus, we can skip the tens place because there's a 0, 1 times 100 plus 2 times 1,000. I hope this has helped you. If you're still struggling with this, please make sure to bring in the numbers that you struggled with, and you can write that on our homework help circle. If you're still not able to finish this, bring in a note from a parent, but I hope this will be a helpful tool. Hope you guys have a great night. Bye.